Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the
Hello.
show. How you doing today, Alex?
I'm doing actually really well. I had a pretty good day of just studying accounting.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm. That's what I did with the majority of my day.
okay.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I got some exciting news for Venom fans earlier, but we're not going to talk about that on this stream. But I tried to make a live stream of it, and it started off well, and it didn't end well. So I actually deleted my first Venom vlog episode in a long time. I don't like deleting videos, but I deleted this one.
Didn't enjoy
Um,
it, huh?
I didn't enjoy the last half of it, no. Um, but here we only talk about DC stuff, and that's what Alex and I are going to do. So I'll bitch about that on Twitter and Instagram, um, and on my community board. So yeah, go check that out. Comments, try to keep them to DC stuff only because that's what we're here to do. We're here to talk about Warner Brothers stuff, DC stuff, and I don't like having too many topics unrelated to the stuff we're here for. So, I mean, Alex and I may BS a little bit about our personal lives, but other than that, we try to stay on topic if we can. Um, isn't that right, Echo? That's right. This is a PG show, Echo. Don't lick your own butthole.
As we watch an R-rated movie.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. But they don't see the footage of it.
They don't
That's
see
the
the
thing.
footage of it. That's true.
Yeah.
They're just
So,
encouraged to watch along with it.
yeah, we're encouraging you to watch along. So tonight's feature, as you can tell by our background, is Deathstroke Knights and Dragons, which is written by one of my favorite comic book writers of all time, J.M. DeMatteis, who I had on the show not too long ago on the Venom vlog, and we talked about his work in the Maximum Venom cartoon series and also Kraven's Last Hunt, which is by far the best Spider-Man comic ever written, in my opinion, and the first Spider-Man comic I ever read. And I'm very happy to finally sit and watch this because I rented it once. I think I told this story before. I rented this movie when it came out and waited a whole day before I started watching it when I only had about 20 minutes left in my rental. And then then I watched it, and then 20 minutes in, it cut off, and I go, what just happened? And then
So
it was
the
like, oh,
first 20 minutes will be familiar, and then after that it'll be an
and then it'll be
adventure.
all new territory for me. But Alex has seen this one.
I have
So
seen this movie.
Yeah, so I'm excited to watch it, not knowing what's going to happen, and Alex knowing what's going to happen. I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
And don't feel free. I mean, if spoilers pop up, it's not the end of the world. I'm not here. That doesn't bum me out too much. But as you know, I'll be interested to see how I react to multitasking, watching something for the first time and hanging out talking. I don't typically like to do that kind of stuff. So this is uncharted territory for me. And
I think we'll still have a good time. You've seen 20 minutes enough. I think you've seen 20 minutes. We'll get into like a good rhythm, and then it'll be fine.
Yeah, then I'll be like, shut up, everybody, shut up. Stop
commenting. Like, it's the 21-minute, 52-second mark. That's where I lost it. It's no talking beyond that point.
Right. All right, everyone, we're shutting the stream down.
Goodbye. No comments.
But there was a couple things I wanted to bring up real fast, Alex, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
First, we'll start with these because we can fly through these. We have 4 new images sent over by Warner Brothers to us to show. I want to show Alex these and get his impression of them. This is from the upcoming Justice Society World War II movie, which comes out digitally at the end of April, and then in physical form and for rental and purchase in on May, I think, like May 7th or 8th. It's like right the week of my birthday. So they sent us four images over. So I wanted to get your opinion on these, Alex. First up, we have a character that I don't think I knew was in this movie. So I want to get your thoughts on this, Alex.
Oh, it's Aquaman.
It is Aquaman.
I had to turn up the brightness on my screen to see him. I don't know. It doesn't really tell much. He's underwater, so and there's like a rock formation behind him. That seems where Aquaman is at his best.
Right. Yeah. He's got his trident kicking there, and so yeah, I just want to show you that real quick, and then I have another one here with the beautiful Wonder Woman.
Oh, this is where you can kind of see more of the differences in the costumes. I like that a lot.
Yeah, this is a really great shot for contrast and like you just said, the comparison.
Yeah, look at Hawkman behind there.
I love it. He's so cool looking.
Yeah,
Um,
he looks
and
great.
Canary looks great. Our Man's fantastic. We got Jay Garrick Flash back there, and Steve Trevor, and Wonder Woman in the foreground. I like the lighting. They did a good job.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting assembly of characters. It's not a conventional sort of Justice League.
True. And here's our third member, our third image. I'm sorry. With Our Man being in the foreground. It's funny because when I see shots like this where people are in the foreground looking towards the camera and talking, it reminds me a lot of Smallville. Smallville did a ton of that where characters would walk right up to what they would call the edge of the stage if they were doing a stage play, and they'd walk right up to camera and start talking with their backs towards the person they're talking to, which I always find to be the rudest thing in the world when people do that to me. And yet, Smallville was founded on people having conversations that way.
Yeah, I remember you'd always get mad at me when I'd try to talk to you when I was in the bathroom. You were like, "No, you're not facing me."
Well, there's two things. One, I don't hear so well, and two, I don't find it very personal, so I get agitated. Um,
Hawkman in action.
Yeah, Hawkman action. As Alex will attest, I have a lot of neuroses that I understand make me unbearable sometimes, but I'm not going to change.
See, I think that's why we get along because we're both eccentric
In very different ways.
in very different ways, but we at least have enough eccentricities in common that we can coexist.
Well, like I appreciate your eccentricities, and I don't know if you do mine, but you're certainly very thick-skinned with me, which is why I think I don't have a ton of friends. Is because I think after like Alex basically lived with me for a little while. And I don't know how he made it through that week and why we're stronger friends. Like that's just a huge testament to the kind of person Alex is.
Yeah, I don't know. We for some reason I was like, yeah, this guy, I like him.
I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Yes, we like DC too, and he said, "Would Alan Scott make a cameo? That would be cool." Are you a Green Lantern fan at all, Alex? Do you like any Green Lanterns?
I mean, I'm not a specific Green Lantern fan. I like when they pop up, and I like their power set because they're kind of like the ex machina of solving the small problems. They're like, we need a bridge, and the Green Lanterns are like, here's a bridge.
They're just utilitarian.
Yeah, like it's like they like Green Lanterns could get transported back in time, and they need to like I don't know print books, and they could just make a printing press. Like they can make anything. Like if they conceptualize it, it just happens.
Man, we're back in the caveman times. If only we had a trebuchet to fight the cave people, and a Green Lantern's like, "I got you."
Yeah, it's just they're. That's what I think is fun about the Green Lanterns. They're such an ex machina. But when you give them all an ex machina, it becomes kind of a fun game of one-upping each other. Like, I'm going to shoot you with a missile. I'm going to throw a oil tanker at you. I'm going to launch a nuclear bomb. I'm going to smash a sun into your face. Like,
I'm going to hit you with a green baseball.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're fun. I like when they appear.
Okay. I love Green Lanterns. Alex is stupid.
I'm stupid because I like them. Just
because you like them for being utilitarian. They're like Jeeps to you.
No, they're just they're a fun sort of. You get what I'm saying.
I'm just busting your balls. The other thing I want to mention real quick is before we get started, this week we got the first episode of Superman and Lois, which I will have a review on at some point, in the near future, unless Alex wants to watch it live one day. But
what network is it on?
It's on the CW.
Is it on HBO Max? Could I just watch it there?
Well, the CW app is free, so you can watch it on the CW app. I think they give you 5 weeks to watch an episode. I will say, just to give a sneak peek at my review, it is probably the best looking CW show I've ever seen. It's shot with like actual film cameras,
not just iPhones.
I was pretty impressed. It looked pretty genuine. Like I was like, wow, this has a great look to it. So yeah, just for that's worth. But the reason why I brought it up is because something came in the mail today that I ordered online because I don't live in Los Angeles anymore, so I couldn't get a copy of this myself. But this is a Daily Planet newspaper that came free on Sunday with the LA Times.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
cool.
So I found one online and got it for like $5 on eBay. So it's just like a big mini newspaper with the whole family. There's a portrait inside of the whole family as well.
Oh,
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So I'll put up a review at some point, and I don't want to talk too much about it. We got a movie to watch here, but if you haven't seen it yet, I'd say give it a try. You can download the CW app and watch it for free.
I might do that. I might give it a shot.
I'm curious if you watch it in the next week or two. I'm curious to hear what your thoughts on the pilot are.
Yeah.
Cool. So real quick before we get started, what do you know about Deathstroke, and are you what? Well, I guess without spoiling anything, but like, what are your thoughts of watching this? Like, were you surprised that I picked this one?
Yeah, it's a newer one, and I usually expect you to pick the older ones.
Yeah.
So I was kind of surprised you're like, oh, Deathstroke, Knights and Dragons, and it's been enough time since I've watched this that I kind of want to watch it again, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
So
enough time is.
Yeah, I was happy when you picked it. I like Deathstroke as a character. I've kind of liked some iterations of him better than others.
Sure.
But he's just kind of an assassin guy, and that's kind of an easy character to think is cool. He's got patches. Who doesn't like little pouches and pockets and all that stuff?
Right. He's also essentially the impetus for Deadpool in a roundabout way.
Yeah, you are correct. That is true.
Yeah, his look anyway, and kind of his name almost too. We have Slade Wilson here, and obviously in Deadpool is Wade Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so pretty similar. So real quick before we get started, make sure you bring the title screen up. Deathstroke, Knights and Dragons. If you're watching on HBO Max with us, just bring up the screen, or if you have a DVD, Blu-ray, whatever it is, and get ready to hit play. Obviously, we do 4, 3, 2, 1, and then when I say 0, we hit play. So that's kind of I'm sorry, I do 3, 2, 1, 0. I think I threw a 4 in there for no reason. Maybe it's because it's our 4th episode, Alex.
Well, yeah, we'll just keep going up. Next week it'll be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, the countdown will become like 100 at one point.
Yeah, we'll be like 112, 111,
well, we're going
110.
Well, the digital countdown, and we'll start the digital countdown, and then we'll run and get food, and we'll come back.
Yeah, we'll just have it ready.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so we got about 2 hours till the show actually starts.
Right. All right. See you guys then.
This is the pre-commentary movie track before the actual commentary movie track.
Exactly. Yeah, so we'll get ready. And Alex, thanks for being here. And if you guys want to check out more of me and Alex, we were on the Mad Scientist Party Hour this week. And is that episode up on their YouTube yet?
I think so. I would guess so. I think it's coming up, either that or it will be up soon if it's not up now.
If you're watching later, I'll put I'll pin a comment down below with the link to it. All right. You ready to go, Alex?
I am ready and I'm excited.
Okay, here we go. Deathstroke, Knights and Dragons. I don't know why I even put the one over this ear. I don't even get it. But yes, IPV, I'm excited too. And I like Just Society, and I'm looking forward to Black Adam as well. So I'm going to get our banner back up. And let's get the movie. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1, 0. And hopefully we should all be within like a second or two of each other.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers Blue Ribbon content. DC!
Deathstroke, Knights and Dragons.
Yes. Ooh. All right. Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight, Alex?
You know, I'd like to think that in some regards I have. If that's what you...
in some regards.
Oh, his mask. It's broken.
It's
What could
broken.
that mean?
I think there's a comic book you can buy that DC for a while was doing famous masks and putting them in with graphic novels.
Oh, I remember like a Court of Owls one.
They did Court of Owls. They did Joker, where his face got ripped off. I think I can't remember if they did a Batman one or not, but they did Deathstroke as well. They need to do Red Hood. What's up with that, bro?
That would be a cool one. What other ones would be kind of cool? I mean, Batman, obviously.
A cool one.
Deathstroke.
Oh, snap. He's got a death stroke, if you know what I'm saying.
Hoo-hoo. It also is kind of, he's clearly very old in this.
Yeah, he's definitely an older guy. And it's funny that they have to, like, they're telling their backstory, and then they just cut straight to him just having sex with her and his shot of his butt. And it's like, let's get that R rating in there real quick.
Yeah, it's like, hey, this isn't a kid's movie, even though it has a kid in the beginning of it.
His son, Eddie, obviously Eddie Brock, Venom. Not obvious at all.
I feel like, I don't know who this movie's really made for. It's a very specific demographic.
I find that to be an issue a lot with the DC animated stuff. I feel like they at some point they came up with a mandate to make something a little bit more hard edged, like rated R, or hard 13.
And that's where you get like the Apocalypse War and Justice League Dark in general.
Sure, but they started making it like a blanket thing. So like the one thing I really didn't like it with was when they did Ninja Turtles versus Batman. That one had like heads getting cut off and stuff, and I was like,
that was R?
If it's not, it's one of the strong PG-13 ones. But there's like heads, like I think Ra's al Ghul or Shredder like decapitate somebody in it, and you're just like, and yeah. And there's some swear words in it. And you're like, not, and it's like I said, I don't think it's R, but I think it's one of their harder PG-13 rating ones.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that they do that, but some of them you're like, I'm not sure this was exactly what you hoped for.
Yeah, for me, I didn't feel like it was necessary in the Ninja Turtle one. But hey, whatever. I was definitely surprised when I watched the movie. That's for sure. Because I went in thinking like Batman Scooby-Doo team up, where it was going to be like really
like kind of goofy.
Yeah.
Lots of pizza jokes.
Yeah,
like Alfred's going to be trying to like make the perfect pizza for the turtles,
which is still kind of there, but I think he just orders the pizza. Oh, he's got the Knights and Dragons book.
And he has a copy himself.
Yeah, that's their bedtime story. What other iterations of Deathstroke have you seen in animation or cartoons or any comic books that you like?
I mean, he's kind of the villain in Teen Titans, if I remember correctly.
Definitely, especially Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go. I think he popped up a few times.
I haven't seen Teen Titans Go. I've mostly just seen him in regards to like the animated movies and appearing a few times in some comics I've read along the way, but I don't think I could name too many specific ones.
Deathstroke's one of those characters that DC has almost desperately tried to change the image of him.
We talked about this, yeah.
Yeah, based on past stories, because it's very obvious. It's not like, because I know one argument I get in with people sometimes is, or debate, but usually it turns to argument, is people think that Batman kills in Dark Knight Returns, like he actually kills people in that book. I don't believe that's the case in that book. He's definitely hardcore, but I don't remember him killing anybody in that book. Same with Killing Joke. I don't believe he kills Joker at the end either, but people interpret things different ways. So with Deathstroke, though, there was no interpretation. He definitely slept with like a kid in the what was it called? Judas Contract.
Yeah,
Uh,
around is that a con? I don't really know Judas Contract very well. Is that just a com? Oh, this is like really showing off some of like the
yeah.
R stuff.
Oh yeah. But that's okay with Deathstroke. I don't mind him like chopping everybody up and stuff
That
and
is
raining
kind of
blood.
cool.
Yeah, it's cool looking. Um, but yeah, I mean, so like there's Tara, who was like this person, this young girl that he kind of groomed and then used her as a plant into the Teen Titans team, and then used her to hurt them emotionally, especially Gar, who is Beast Boy, and she
What
kind of turned
year
them.
did that come out?
It was the early '80s, I believe, early to mid '80s.
It must have been like someone trying to be edgy, I guess.
Well, here's the thing: is Marv Wolf, that run is amazing. Marv Wolfman and George Perez, who did the art, that's a legendary run of those characters in that book. But I don't know if it was so much about being edgy as it was just about making Deathstroke a really despicable, evil person. Like I
That's a
think
good point. They
they were
really
just like,
wanted
let's
to make him the villain.
right. Like they were like, there's no doubt in your mind this guy is evil, like 100% evil. But then over the years, he's kind of developed a fan base of people who like him as a guy who sometimes walks the line, or might have some kind of code, even though he didn't before. So he's one of those characters that they've tried to change a lot. And they even to the point where they've tried to make him more of a Batman villain and less of a Teen Titans villain at times.
What do you think of the fight choreography that we've seen so far?
I really dig it. Like the animation's really clean in this. That's one of the things I noticed the first time I watched it. Is that it's very swift. Like it's like actions
Yeah.
happen really quickly, which is what you want in animation, because you can do things in animation, obviously, that live action can't get away with. So these like that quick camera zoom, even on that guy that just happened a minute ago, that was a cool technique to move the camera around to make the scene like, oh, he's got guns, I like that stuff. So I'm a fan of the action for sure. What about you?
I think it's very fluid. I think the animation style is pretty simplistic,
Mm-hmm.
but they make a lot of the movement complex, which I think kind of makes up for the simplicity of some of the more basic or still shots.
I think because the animation is simple is probably why they can get away with some of that complicated movement.
Yeah,
Because
it's simpler to animate. It's just
right, they're not overworking themselves.
yeah, exactly. Where it's like, okay, let's just do a simple, easy style. Like all the goons are basically the same.
Right.
It's just it does make it like probably a lot simpler to do the more complex animation.
I agree. I also like that his wife was a badass. She kicked a little bit of butt there.
Yeah, she was like ready to throw down. Why is he FaceTiming naked?
Well, he's got wounds everywhere, which I don't remember him getting hit at all.
Oh, he heals? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I guess he's got
now his junk is camera level.
Yeah.
Could you imagine like having like an assassin asset in the field and that's how they like hang up on you? Just like
I like that you said asset.
Asset, yeah.
He was naked.
Deathstroke deserves a live action movie, in my opinion. What would it be about? What would a live action like? How do you think that would fit into like the current DCU? It's dark enough.
Well, what's the story of this? Like, I mean,
I don't know if this. Well, this couldn't really fit. I don't think into like current DCU super well.
If I was going to make a movie about Deathstroke, I would have him get hired to kill the Suicide Squad.
That's a pretty good one.
And then you just have like a bunch of assholes. You just make a shoot 'em up movie like Smoking Aces, which is a fantastic movie.
And it would be fun to have like a Batman cameo in there too, where like Harley Quinn gets Batman to protect her.
Okay. Oh, see, I wouldn't have Harley Quinn on the Suicide Squad.
Oh, well, I'm talking about current DC, and she's on the current Suicide Squad.
Yeah, but but the current DC is also a multiverse.
I guess, but I was talking about DCU. I wanted if he's going to be in a movie. I guess not
Well,
all the movies fit her in this. There's like Elseworld movies like Joker. That's
whatever
true.
James Gunn does, I'm sure will be better than any idea I can come up with, though.
Yeah, that looks really interesting. I'm pretty excited to see where that goes.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where that goes too. Actually, the Deathstroke was cast. That's true for Snyder Cut. Um, he's in the Justice League movie that came out. I think he's in the post credit scene. Joe Manganiello plays him from Magic Mike.
I have no idea. Anything else? Has that guy been in?
Oh, he's in a ton of movies. I can't think of any, but yeah, he's been in a ton of movies.
Magic
Um,
Mike was the one you knew?
well, it's because I read an article about him, and that they
Oh, okay,
list.
that's what that referenced.
Yeah, I never even seen Magic Mike, so I have no idea. Maybe he's not even in it, but I'm pretty sure the article said Magic Mike.
Is this traditional of Deathstroke? I don't remember him having like the Wolverine healing factor.
Yeah, because that's where Deadpool gets it from.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
He's enhanced, he's enhanced, but there's been different versions. There's some where he's just a guy like Batman, where he's just, just pushes himself to the limit. But then there's a lot of versions where he's like kind of a super soldier in a way, but there's malfunctions to him.
Oh, okay.
So there's been different versions. I mean, it's hard to keep up with all of them.
With what is currently continuity, or
yeah, because I think a lot of people's exposure to Deathstroke is actually from the Arkham video games.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because it's funny, people underestimate the power of how many gamers are out there, and there's a lot of people that got introduced to Deathstroke in Arkham Origins, and then later again in Arkham Knight. He was a big part of both those stories.
Because I'm sure he has pretty badass armor in both those.
Yeah, he does. I got the toy. It's on the other shelf behind me, but it's down there. I got a Deathstroke McFarlane toy.
This movie so far I forgot how much backstory it is.
Yeah, there is. It's interestingly paced because normally there's obviously a bunch of different ways you can pace movies. You can do it linear or you can do it out of order. And doing out of order in animation sometimes can be really tricky because the animation doesn't always change. So whereas like in a movie, you can tell there's kind of a filter here with the colors. Like they kind of dull the colors a little.
Yeah. And obviously he's like doing kind of different stuff with his hair and his
right.
He's got the Billy Goat beard.
Right. Well, one night stands will do that to you. It's always funny when you think of like assassins and stuff, like to try to get into that mindset of like, okay, I've killed a bunch of people and now I gotta release some kind of energy, and so I'm gonna go hook up with someone. It's funny because I've had to think about characters like that from time to time when pitching stuff, and it's a hard mindset to get into where it's like they're just like I don't know. I guess it's hard to say, but like, so what I did was I watched a lot of interviews with Masahiro Ito, and he was talking about how sex and violence are like these really taboo things, and when you put them together, it makes people very uncomfortable. And so that's usually the realm that people like monsters will live in or assassins will live in. And I was like, oh, that's interesting to think about.
Yeah, like I mean, you think about something like Lone Wolf and Cub, and it includes a lot of both those elements.
Right. All right. Then there's also like the flip of the coin, which is like people see it as like an extreme version of masculinity, where it's like, haha, I'm killing because I'm badass, and now I'm going to go screw whoever I want. So you have that argument too. But I like to look past the surface stuff and try to understand why characters do things.
Yeah, other than the animalistic concepts.
Sure, because the animalistic stuff comes from something, like something visceral inside. That's also a great idea, this scene. Like, I like that she's sitting in her kid's bedroom because the kid was taken from her. But like that says a lot actually about her mental state. Uh, Even though her words are anger towards Slade, her actions of hurting so much now that she couldn't save and defend her kid, that she's just sitting in his room crying, is like it's a it's a very parental thing, you know?
Yeah, it's where she was like, I need to. This is the only place I could be right now.
Right.
I never fail. I'm Deathstroke.
Master of voices.
Yep, that's what they tell me.
What's this question we have? Which is the movie you most expect from DC? Expect or excited about? I don't.
You
Are you
most
expecting them? Are you expecting to
um,
make a movie, Alex?
the one I'm most probably excited for coming out. Man, I would like to see like a sequel to Shazam.
They're that's going to be done filming at the end of April.
I'm interested in. I mean, obviously, Suicide Squad, James Gunn's. I'm interested in.
Nice. That'll be
Um,
on HBO Max in a couple months.
yeah, it will. I don't know. What do you think of like Batman? With Patrick Stewart, or not Patrick Stewart? Jesus. Uh,
Patrick Stewart is playing Batman.
what's the name of the Twilight kid? You know what I'm
Uh,
talking about?
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson. What do you think of him as Batman?
Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't have been my pick, although I think he's a good actor. Actually, I really liked Lighthouse. I don't know if you saw that. Um,
I didn't.
it's a little pretentious, which is I know you're not a fan of that kind of filmmaking,
Yeah,
but
if I want something pretentious, I'd rather read it because then I get the full pretentious. I can go to like a hipster coffee shop and sip
yeah,
something like tea, and I can read a pretentious book, and I get the whole hipster experience.
right.
But I mean, watching a pretentious movie at home, no one gets to see me do that.
I see you.
You see
Um,
me.
yeah, I'm watching a little too closely, also.
I want to go to coffee shops and read David Foster Wallace novels.
I hope someone gets that reference. Is everyone here too young for that? That's
Oh,
funny.
Infinite Jest.
Um, I
And we got
think,
another good fight scene going on. Sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
I'm actually no. Go ahead. Actually, go ahead and talk about it because I'm going to look. I can't remember who these characters are, so I wanted to look it up real quick.
It's very kinetic. Like I like that it's really
Jack.
well choreographed. Like, oh man, and it's so brutal
Yeah.
in kind of very gross ways. Like
Right.
he stabs him basically through the fist, and that is like a big issue with like the Wolverine kind of claws.
Yeah.
Like if it gets past you, someone's just stabbing you through the arm.
Um. Bronze. I thought that was Bronze Tiger, the guy with the claws. I thought so.
Jeez, he needed to be Gold Tiger.
But who's the woman he just killed? I
I could answer that, but it's a spoiler.
Okay.
I
But
think it
that's
would give
Jackal.
things away.
I believe that's Jackal.
I think so.
Um. Oops. Sorry, my movie paused for no reason.
I'll pause for a second. Everyone, pause for a second.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll just be like 2 seconds off. It does that sometimes. It just pauses. I forgot though, because we've been talking. I haven't been paying attention to his voice. But Deathstroke is voiced by one of my favorite actors, Michael Chiklis.
Oh, it takes the arm off.
Oh, nice. Oh, there we go. Because this is Hive, right? Hive is
Yeah, Hive.
yeah. They took his son, yeah, and that's Joseph, although he has other kids, I believe.
Oh yeah, I think that's what this. Yeah, he's. Oh no.
There's a I believe something like this happened in the comics. And there's a scene, one of my favorite moments with Deathstroke in the comics. It also involves a guy named Breon, who is a Geoforce, is his superhero name. And Geoforce is trying to fight Slade Wilson and kill him during the Infinite Crisis. He's like, whatever's happening to this world, all these different Earths pop up in the sky. He's like, whatever's going on, I don't care. The heroes will save the day, and Slade Wilson is not going to see tomorrow. And so he lures Slade Wilson into an alley, and then Breon cuts his own throat, just like Deathstroke's son, I believe, did in the comic books.
Is this about where you left off in the movie?
Yeah, this is around the time. I think I didn't even see this part, actually.
Okay, go on. Sorry, I just wanted to check.
That's okay. So in the comics, yeah, his son got his throat slit like this, and so Breon cuts his own throat, and Deathstroke goes, no, because they were supposed to fight to the death. And he's like, no, there's no honor in this. So he goes over, Deathstroke goes to save Breon. But while Deathstroke comes in close, Breon stabs him and gets the kill.
Oh, wow.
I was like, that is awesome. So he actually, they were supposed to, I think, both die in that alley. But then they retconned it after, like, a few months later, which was like, that would have been a cool death for both those characters.
When I heard the title was Knights and Dragons, I really thought it was about Deathstroke being transported back to medieval times.
Yes. That's when I heard the title, I got that impression too.
And I thought it was going to be like Deathstroke in King Arthur's court, and like him and Merlin are going to fight like a dragon and an evil wizard or something.
I would have really liked to seen something like that, because I was thinking also he could team up with Etrigan. I guess Etrigan's in Justice League Dark, but Etrigan is one of my favorite D-list like DC characters. Uh, 10 years later, and he gets shot by a random a-hole.
Yeah, just wasn't paying attention.
Well, he just didn't see a guy just jump in front of the doorway and shoot him.
It's like a Pulp Fiction moment.
Yes, yeah, it is. I wonder if maybe intentionally so.
He is in like the kitchen. That's where he came from, and that's where.
That's a good thought. Oh. Ooh. Step on me. Dang, dude.
Wow, this is a good fight scene.
Yeah, this is actually pretty awesome. She's like kicking his ass. Dang. No, it doesn't. Oh, come on. Pause the movie.
Oh, no.
All right. Hit play. You're good. Hit play.
What's your time code?
2418.
Okay, I'm going to pause for a second.
My time code right now is 2424.
Okay, I'm on track with you.
Oh!
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what happened is I just lost internet for a second.
Well, everyone, sorry. We might be 10 seconds off behind you now. I'm back with you, I think. I'm at 24, 42, 43, 44.
Yeah, we're still like 2 seconds off. It's not a big deal.
This is really to redeem him saving young girls.
I mean, yeah.
See, they're like, we need to make it very, very clear.
Right, but he's not that Slade Wilson. Yeah. It's interesting because I don't know if those are notes given by. I'm really curious about the process of these things, because I'm sure artists and directors and the producers and stuff, they're the ones who kind of figure out, all right, what stories are we going to tell? Kind of like how comic book editing is sometimes. And like, we're going to come up with the characters we're going to make movies on. So then they go and seek writers and directors for those projects.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like J.M. DeMatteis, I think he said in my interview with him that he got the call that to see if he was interested in doing something like this. And he was, because he was like, oh, I'm interested in telling a story with Deathstroke. But I don't know how much of that is like, when he shows up, do they have a kind of an idea and he works off the script? Like we didn't get into that. So I'd be very curious to know, like, what that process can be like.
I would too, because I'm sure with animated movies there's more leeway because it's like, oh, it to animate anything, like it costs the same.
Right.
Hold on a second.
Well, yes and no. Did you pause it? Okay. I'm going to put this over here. There we go. To answer your question, which so I don't think I answered that, the DC question. I'm not really. I mean, whatever they release, I'll probably watch. Like I don't know. I love DC comics, and even if movies, like I saw, Birds of Prey, and I thought that trailer didn't look that good, but I still went and saw it. Like I'm I'm a fan. I like to go and check out what stories they're going to tell with these things. But I would love to see. Like I'm kind of over the Batman stuff. I want to see Batman Beyond. Like I want to see a different take on Batman. And granted, I know that's not different for us fans, but that's different for the public. So I kind of would like them to see more stuff like that.
I think I'll watch almost any of these once.
Yeah, for sure. Animated or live action, I'll probably watch all of them.
Yeah, like I'm excited to watch every single one of them.
Yeah. I love these characters too much. I have to see how people interpret them. I don't know. I get it. I like it. Like Birds of Prey, I really did not like the interpretation of like half of that movie's cast. But there were a couple that I kind of did like. So
I thought it was a fun enough movie. I remember seeing it to you, myself, and Kevin.
Yeah, you guys liked it way more than I did. I remember
it was fine. It didn't like offend me. I just enjoyed watching it with you guys. I was like, oh, this is a fun thing just to watch with some friends.
Yeah. Yeah, it was certainly not as bad as like The Predator was. I remember seeing that, and I hated that so much I went and got a beer in the middle of the movie.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
We were with what's his friend's name? Ybarra.
The Justin Ybarra.
Justin, yeah, who's on Gotham. Kevin knew this guy he's an actor and comedian. He's on Gotham, and he went and saw Predator with us. I hated it so much. So Birds of Prey was not that bad. Definitely not. And there's some really good shots in Birds of Prey, actually.
As the time has gone on, I've gotten more and more excited for the Snyder Cut.
Have you really? Interesting.
Yeah. Because one, I think it'll be fun to watch with you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
And two, I keep remembering it's Justice League and not Batman vs Superman, and I like Justice League.
Yeah.
I'm excited for a 4-hour Justice League. I'm like, cool, I'd watch that. Why not? Why wouldn't I?
Yeah, I think both you and I I'm certainly critical of a lot of things in that Justice League movie, but I guess I liked it on a level. I think we talked about this. I liked it on the level of Batman and Robin, where I'm just like, it's stupid at times, but seeing like a longer cut of it with more things fleshed out, yeah, I'd probably be into it.
Is it the perfect movie by any means? No, and it lacks the things that I like from superhero movies.
Sure.
Which is what. And I say this knowing exactly kind of what it is. Like the Marvel stuff is schlock. It's you want to see the good guy win. You want to see a few jokes along the way. You want something you can munch along some popcorn to. And that's what I like to see in superhero movies. I want to see cool action. I want to see someone to root for, someone to hate.
Right.
You want to. That's really. It doesn't have to be a complex thing in my eyes.
Right. And I can appreciate someone wanting to make things complicated, or make things deeper, but at the same time, I'm like you, Alex. I'm not looking for it. I'm like, I'm not here for that.
Yeah. Because I mean, some people do like it. It's sometimes done in better ways than others. Like I think a lot of people really liked like Joker.
I did. I
And
like
that
Joker.
say that again.
I actually liked Joker a lot.
And then that's definitely kind of an exemption to that for a lot of people, where it's a quote unquote superhero movie, but it's done in a very not superhero way.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's made. I mean, it's pretty much like the King of Comedy and Taxi Driver, like remade, but it's still like it's fine though. It's like it worked for what it was, and I
Yeah,
like that there was something there. Like I think people got the wrong message with that movie. Like people were like, "Oh, why you like the Joker? He's a monster in it." I'm like, "Well, but you the way he became a monster is something you can still have empathy for." Like the stuff that happened to him as a kid with his mom. Like you're like, "Okay, that was dark stuff." Like I know I wish he didn't become a monster, but that whole movie is him screaming at people to help him and nobody does. So at the end you're kind of like, well, this was inevitable. I'm not rooting for it to happen, but it was inevitable.
yeah. It's sort of like you can follow the logic. You're like, I understand why he is the way he
Right.
is.
That's all it
Uh,
is. Like, yeah.
and you're like, I'm
I
not
work at
condoning it, but
yeah.
this is a good example of understanding a character,
Right. Right.
even if it's even if it's a tragic character. You can still like a tragic character.
It's true.
I mean, look, we're talking about Deathstroke. He's kind of a tragic character in a lot of ways.
Can I ask, because I think someone brought this up before, was this done in episodes and then put together to make this movie?
I don't think so. I've only ever known it as a movie.
Okay. Um, Maybe we can Google that or something. Um, I'm intrigued because like the way this is paced is very interesting to me. It almost feels like it's paced in 10 to 15-minute increments. Um,
Knights and Dragons. I'm Googling it.
okay.
Well, here is something that says a TV series.
Okay, see that's what I thought. So I thought this was uploaded to the CW Seed app. Um, and now that makes a lot more sense to me. The film was originally announced as a 12-part series in April 2019, written by J.M. DeMatteis and directed by Sung Jin An. The voice cast was also revealed, the first episode airing on CW Seed on January 6, 2020, but subsequent episodes never appeared. Instead, they just went right to the film version, which came out on August 4th. So that makes a lot more sense to me because the pacing of this, I've noticed, is very, I wouldn't say episodic, but they get to
There's
a point.
clear breaks.
Yes, you said it best. There's clear breaks. Not that I'm against it. I just it's
You
it's a
notice
little.
it.
I notice it now. Yeah. Um, it's pretty cool. So there's Bronze Tiger with a robot arm now. You know me, I love robot arms.
Who doesn't like robot arms?
I want to get one. I mean, this shoulder is so ruined now.
You know the cyberpunk stuff. Would you want like the mantis blades or the gorilla arms?
Interesting. I would. I don't know. What would make me look thinner? Probably the gorilla arm. No, I think I would probably like I'd like a Terminator arm. I just want something skinny and like effective.
Just want like little skinny arms.
Well, just one.
Just one.
Yeah, I mean, this arm. I'm telling you, this shoulder hurts so much all the time. When I'm not like on some kind of pain pill, it gets. I'm like filing my teeth down now because I've been grinding them on this left side So I'm gonna definitely go get him checked out. I'll probably have to have surgery. So I make a joke about it, but you watch. One day I'm gonna end up with one, and I'm not making a joke at like the expense of anyone who has like a prosthetic limb. I'm more of like thinking Star Wars. Like when I think of robotic limbs, I think of Luke Skywalker's hand.
I get you. Oh, and he's still got blades.
Oh, he better, man. That's an easier upgrade to put on when you have a robot arm.
Yeah, and I mean, but aren't you a little worried that you have the same vulnerability?
True.
Someone could just stab you through the arm again.
Oh,
Yep. Okay, right there.
that was the weirdest case of foreshadowing ever. Because like if you were pacing this as a movie, him getting his arm cut off twice in 25 minutes or whatever that's excessive for
That's
like a
like 36 minutes.
no, not apart from each other though. It's like
Oh, no,
20
I
minutes
see.
apart from
Yeah,
each other.
I see it.
That's pretty excessive for a
But when there's like 3 weeks between it.
right. When you're pacing out episodes though, you're like, oh, that happened a couple weeks ago. That's cool.
I didn't notice that the first time. I just assumed it was all a thing. I didn't notice the breaks.
I remember someone saying it on one of my streams recently, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I think it was an episode thing."
Let's see if we can like. I think a break is coming up.
Yeah, this is great. That's awesome. Because you always wonder that you're like, why do the heroes just kind of fly away and just leave the bad guys behind to fight another day? But Deathstroke, you're like, why would Deathstroke do that? And it's like, oh, he didn't. He just dropped a missile.
That's his Alfred.
He does I think in the comics he had like a someone I think in the New 52 they gave him somebody that he communicated with.
This guy Wintergreen.
Wintergreen, who Wintergreen is from the old comics too. But I think they used him. I can't. It's hard to keep all this shit together.
Oh yeah, there's so much of it.
If Gene was here, Gene would know because Gene knows the full history of Deathstroke and the Teen Titans.
We'll have to have Gene on one of these days then.
I asked him. He's waiting to get a new computer so he can have a better webcam so he can join us. But we will have the Mad Scientist Party Hour guys coming up.
Yeah, they'll be on here soon.
So next week and the week after is bike week for me for Harley Davidson. So I cannot do. I'll be able to do our show on Thursday, but I won't be able to like plan much during that time. So
Okay.
So we'll try to get those guys on like late March and then into early April if that's okay.
Yeah, that works for me.
All right, because I just won't.
Sounds like a fun plan.
Yeah, because I won't be able to.
Oh, scuba. Oh, it's like exploding scuba things.
Nice. So like this bit here feels like a different adventure than the previous battle. So
Yeah,
I would say him flying off.
Shark.
Yeah, the shark ate him. I would say him flying off and dropping the missile was probably the end of the previous episode. Oh, that's even better. Don't even kill him. Just let him bleed. Yeah. Smart. Look at the arms and leg there. It's amazing. Oh,
Yeah,
that's so cool. Oh, someone's watching. Someone's always watching.
Yeah, like I love how he had like a missile launcher harpoon gun, and then he had like his swords and shit, and these guys just had like knives.
Right. Yeah.
They like looked at him like, oh, we were poorly equipped.
You can, yeah. You can, oh, is that Shiva? Lady Shiva?
I think so.
Ah, it is Shiva. A woman that literally Batman's never beat in hand-to-hand combat. Whoa. Smart. Smart. Because he would not be able to beat her. She would rip his head off. That is so smart. What was it? I came up with that once in a comic book, where I think it was Ghost Rider. No, it was Captain America versus Wolverine, and Wolverine was like, "Cap, you're not going to win this battle." And then Cap says something like, "He's like, yeah, Logan, how do you beat someone that you can't beat in combat?" And Wolverine goes, "I don't know." And he goes, "You don't fight them." And then Cap stands aside and Ghost Rider comes out. And it turns out to be a Ghost Rider versus Wolverine fight. But yeah, it was like something I pitched to like many, many years ago. But I always love that idea of like, I always wanted to put that in another story where how do you fight someone that you can't beat? You don't fight them. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, is that Rose? She's got white hair. That's interesting. What is happening?
Yeah, Joseph has powers.
Right. Right. Okay. So that's how you tell a Deathstroke story. You just bring in you just, because I wasn't sure if this was like going to be an origin or what. And then we started with the kid. I'm like, oh yeah, he had the kid, but I didn't know all the other kids were going to be in it. So he's got Joseph there and Rose, but there's also Jericho. I think he has another kid named Jericho.
Yeah. That's like, geez, Deathstroke. Like, if you could have just kind of not cheated on your wife, you would have had a lot less problems.
Right. I like that gave him trauma. Him beating on the glass made him think of the time when he broke through the glass last time and that got his throat cut. That's interesting. That's pretty cool. Hive is one of those groups that I never give two shits about in DC Comics. But this is kind of a neat story to tell with them.
They're kind of like the AIM of DC.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the same yellow color scheme too.
Yeah, they look at the beehive costumes, the beekeeper costumes.
Yeah.
Hive is used, I think, in Young Justice a little bit, but they're like a fraction of like the real story. So I kind of like that.
Psychic.
Interesting. That's pretty cool. But so you notice how much information you're getting in a short amount of time. That was the tip for me that reminded me that this was episodic.
Yeah, because they kind of gotta have those information dumps.
Well, like from the moment he got in the pool or in the water and the sharks were eating everyone to this moment here, we've seen like 3 battles and a lot of exposition. So I'm like, yeah, that's a nice, episode there. I liked Deathstroke in Batman and Son, where Damian is the reason he doesn't have an eye.
Oh, really? Oh, that's kind of cool.
Have you seen Batman and Son?
Oh, no, I have. Yeah, I do. I remember this now. I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah. It's like where Deathstroke was like a student at the League of Assassins temple.
Okay, I do remember this. I remember I would always watch those movies before going to like comic book conventions. So I'd be like at C2E2 in the airport watching those.
Nice. I liked watching. I like watching them at Comic-Con when we used to go. They would always take over. They would always take over Ballroom 20. And I remember one year, me and Madison went, and we went early. Like we got there early, and we ended up watching the iZombie panel, and that made us both fans of iZombie because we had never watched the show or read the comic. But the panel, like it rocked our world. We loved it, and we loved the cast. But then right after, they did the panel for Justice League Gods and Monsters. And they showed the movie. And we surprisingly really liked it. Considering it was a Bruce Timm Elseworld story, it was really good.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect from that. I didn't know it was an Elseworld story when I started it.
Yeah.
So I was like, when do Superman and Batman and
show up?
When does that happen? And this is the movie, and I was like, we're like 40 minutes in, and then I was like, we're like 70 minutes in. What's happening? And then it ended, and I was like, oh, I guess it's an other world story.
They made 3 one-shot comic books that are prequels to each of those 3 characters, which I still haven't read to this day, but I heard they're really good because they're written by the screenwriters of the movie. But I like that movie. It was really cool. Like an actual vampire Batman.
Dang. Yeah, it is kind of a fun one. Yeah, a lot of bullets, a lot of shooting.
But like bullets through the face and legs and stuff, like you would, I don't care how strong you are, you just collapse. Dang. It's funny that music is kind of a riff on 28 Days Later's theme song. It's kind of
I haven't heard that in forever.
That's a great movie. I watched it not too long ago. I love that movie.
Well, I remember 28 Days Later a little bit, but I really vividly remember 28 Weeks Later for some reason.
I think that one, it's more of your standard kind of.
Yeah, it's really very predictable.
Right, but it's like, but because of that, it's shot with like a budget. So I think that's probably why, like, because that first movie is like really indie filmmaking.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got to start of another episode here, bro.
Where it's bleeding out. I love how his armor heals.
Yes. I think there it didn't. The one bullet in his chest that still stayed on his armor, but some of the other ones.
A few of them are sticking around.
Yeah.
Who found him?
Who farted?
Everyone. Constantly.
His wife. Or not his wife, but the girl he slept with to make Rose, probably.
No, I thought this is his wife. This is Joseph's mom.
Oh, it is Joseph's mom. Okay. I forgot.
She's just aged. They put gray hair on her.
Okay, gotcha. Because I was like, which one looked like Rogue? So yeah, it's her older. Makes sense. She's such a badass in that opening sequence.
Yeah.
And she wants her son back.
Yeah, she has stakes.
Right. That's what I was wondering. I was like, is she going to get sidelined? But I kind of like that she's not. Tracker in the mouth. Smart. That's actually pretty clever. Because I was like, why would she kiss him? And she did it to like upchuck a tracking device in his mouth.
Yeah.
Interesting. Herbs from Raccoon City.
Herbs from Raccoon City.
Let's get a Deathstroke Resident Evil crossover going.
That would be a funny one. What other crossovers? DC crossovers are always fun.
Yes. I always like seeing DC. Their universe is so bizarre sometimes for a mainstream comic company. I think they have a very bizarre world, and I like seeing it interact with other worlds.
I agree. They do have this very truth and justice sort of black and white world, which I think is very interesting. And I think that makes Deathstroke an interesting character to have within it, because when he was introduced, he was a very black and white villain character.
Right.
And now they've started to obviously work out of that hole. Oh my god.
Yeah, I know I'm
Oh
getting a little
yeah.
tired.
They call Joseph Jericho. I forgot.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, all right. Yeah, I think earlier did I say there were two people? Um,
Yeah.
I think I did. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Jericho.
It's like his alternate.
Balloon. Jesus.
Well, that's not Deathstroke's fault.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like that woman who's driving's fault. Like,
Yeah, it's that balloon's fault.
yeah, like why didn't you like blame the woman who killed your mom with her car? Like,
That could have been something they could have done is like have her show her kill the woman in the car, and then and realize that didn't stop the hurting. So now she's just looking for another target to kill to blame. That could have been something they could have done.
oh my
Oh my
god,
god!
she's like beating up old, like full-grown Muay Thai fighters with her
With her little kid,
Deathstroke DNA money or Deathstroke DNA fists.
right? So look at that. He became the creepy groomer.
He did become the creepy groomer.
Look at
That
that.
is
That's
an
how.
interesting contrast. That's how they get Deathstroke. He now has to fight the creepy groomer.
Right now, this is him fighting old him. uh, yeah. Now Jackal's the creepy groomer. So that way you don't associate it with Deathstroke anymore.
Yeah, it's Deathstroke fighting the creepy groomer.
That's right.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm yawning so
It's
much.
not your fault, actually. I've noticed I am too, but I haven't been on a. I've been on a weird schedule lately, so
Oh, now he's got a hive suit on.
yeah.
I kind of like the armor of the hive suits. They're kind of cool.
In this, they look neat. Yeah, they're not bad.
Like I like Rose's hood, like she has on the back of it.
Yeah, can you stop sticking your dick into things?
Yeah, like geez, Deathstroke, you've created this problem all on your own. That's sometimes the like interesting thing about superhero movies is when you're like, oh, this is all because of the main character. Like Age of Ultron is all because of Tony Stark.
Right. Yeah, it's because a lot of comic characters and fiction characters are on these hamster wheels, so
Yeah.
they almost create their own self-fulfilling prophecies. Like
They need to save the world and then destroy it again so they can
well, they
save it
need to save
again.
the world, but they also inspire the thing that's gonna oppose them at it. Sometimes.
You notice that it's kind of an interesting trope, you see.
Yeah. That's why I appreciate characters that don't fit that constantly break out of that trope, but it doesn't happen often, unfortunately. Because like to me, like I don't see why someone like Peter Parker can't be 40 years old in the comics, and have had a life and have kids, and then now
Yeah,
you have
could you imagine Old Man Spider-Man?
I can because there's been a dozen stories written about it, but they're all like Elseworld type stories and what ifs. But they're all great. A lot of them are great.
Look at all the roses in the background.
Get it?
Oh man, that's her name.
She's a white rose, and he's a yellow rose.
I think he's just blonde.
Oh,
What, like someone? Because is there a brown rose too?
there's a brown eye.
Yep. and I'll gaze into it all the time.
Just gaze into it. It's that thing Batman creates, isn't it? Brown eye. It's like a satellite.
Yep,
No,
that's it. That's how he spies on Gotham, through their brown eyes.
brown eye activate.
Brown eye activate. Wasn't it
Before
the brown note, the musical note that's so deep or something that'll make you poop yourself?
yeah, the brown note. They did it on South Park and The League, I believe.
Oh, I do remember those on both those.
Yeah. But before anyone tries to correct me, I know it's brother eye, not brown eye.
I wonder how he got superpowers. It doesn't really explain that.
I was wondering if I missed something regarding that.
Like, shouldn't he have similar powers to like her? Like, just be like kind of superhuman, like Slade Wilson, but he's got like psychic powers.
Well, I mean, yes and that's a good question. I don't know how that works, like genetics and stuff. Like, I know some kids can have blue eyes when their parents have brown eyes, so it's like maybe it's something like that where they don't get exactly what he had, but their DNA is changed somehow. I don't know.
Pete. Good dog.
Pete,
He just came over here.
what up, Pete?
Buddy.
Wintergreen, you there?
Always. So she has a boat, he has a plane.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh my. I guess Deathstroke has a train.
That would be really funny. Like, that's how this ends, where they're like stranded and they're like, no, the villain's getting away, and then Deathstroke's like, hold on, there's some tracks nearby.
I hope he has a spare suit. Wait, so these 4 people just volunteered to die? Oh, never mind. I spoke too soon. He's like, we didn't volunteer for anything. Dang. Crazy, dude. Well, why is she taking so long? Is she fighting it? He's still a good person. That's a good point.
It's like, why murder someone that we provide health insurance to? We have to pay out a claim then.
Right. There was I don't know. So they have you do that like when I was writing like Taurus or Rhino and a couple other things. Like you'll have people like tell you like, oh, you should if you want your bad guy to be taken seriously, like if one of his henchmen screws up, it's like a trope to like have him kill one of the henchmen. And I did sometimes wonder about that. I'm like, but that's such a waste of henchmen.
Yeah, it is such a weird like trope to see, like, oh, we're just going to kill a henchman, and it's like some of those guys have like 3 degrees. Like, right. They're not that expendable. Like, how many PhDs who don't care that much about their life are like signing up?
Right.
Like, oh wow, AIM always needs physicists. I don't know what it is. They're like, there's constantly an opening for physicists at AIM.
Well, also, like, it can't be easy to recruit someone into your death cult.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be like some level of grooming and scouting for desperate people who just want to throw their life away. and then programming them. And that takes a lot of time and effort. So to just blindly shoot one and be like, they're expendable. It's like, that seems like a lot of work.
Yeah, like, could you imagine that pitch? Like, yes, you're trained in combat. You have military experience. The job pays 42,000 a year. You have to live in our compound, and you can't ever see anyone you love again.
Right.
And it's like, what do I even do with the 42,000 a year?
Right.
Like,
right. So yeah, this is. I mean, I don't. Again, I'm not an expert on these characters, but this seems pretty reminiscent of what he can do in the comic books. He's a pretty hardcore villain sometimes in the books. I think he showed up because my only exposure, I read the Wolfman Perez stuff, but other than that, my only major exposure to Teen Titans post that run was the Jeff Johns run, which I think he went up to like issue 40 or something like that. And then I kept reading after he left. And then there was the Outsiders book that tied into it, written by Judd Winnick, which was also really good. But I think Jericho showed up a few times in those runs.
little brother.
Little brother. Ooh, she's gonna play that card.
Yeah, damn.
So I didn't even mention it earlier, and I wish I did. But my favorite version of Deathstroke, and probably the version I know the best, is actually from the TV show Arrow. Manu Bennett, I believe, is the actor who plays Slade in season 1 of Arrow, and he's stuck on the island with Oliver through like half of season 1.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah, because I remember watching part of this.
Yeah, and then in season 2, you find out he's still alive on the island, and he's in the flashback scenes and in the present day scenes, and he's the main villain of season 2. And I think he even kills Oliver Queen's mother.
Oh wow!
So like, but that performance and that version of Deathstroke, I love. Manu Bennett he was on the show Spartacus, which I love too. And he's so badass as Deathstroke.
It's really so cool how popular these comic sort of properties have become, and now we get these like big movies and even TV shows based on them. Like, could you even remember, like, if like in 1998 Superman versus Batman came out, we'd be like, we don't care what it's like. The fact that you're making it is enough.
That's the thing, is like the perception and stuff. Like of course I don't remember fully, but I would very much doubt that I argued when I was a kid over which version of Spider-Man was better, the 90s cartoon or Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Like, I don't think I would have sat, or Spider-Man's Amazing Friends and the Electric Company Spider-Man cartoon. I don't think I would have argued about those at all. I feel like more Spider-Man, more. Like,
yeah, you would have been like, anything. It makes something.
Transformers Beast Wars. I remember vaguely people complaining about that cartoon when it first came out, like hardcore Transformer fans. And I was like, I don't care. It's called Transformers. Like, I'm going to watch it.
It's crazy how like when we get this kind of quote unquote oversaturated market, we start to get a lot more critical of the media. Well, we're not starved for it.
That's the thing, is we're not starved. We're well fed and we're spoiled. And we're so spoiled that we literally have Superman in a TV show. We have the Henry Cavill Superman, and then we have the Supergirl TV show, and then a new girl just got cast as Supergirl for the live action movies. Like, we have all 4 of those things at the same time.
Plus the animated movies, plus the comic books.
Right. Right. Yes. Right. And yes, exactly.
And you can go to Barnes and Noble and get comics now. They have huge comic sections.
Yeah, Barnes and Noble, yeah, right next to their manga sections, and they have even Target has a couple, and Walmart has a couple now too.
Like, I just remember being a kid and just seeing anything, and I was just so happy to get like any anime, any comic books. I remember the first time I went to a comic book store, I was mesmerized. I was like, this exists. People, I can access this readily.
Yeah, it's so, and what happens is now that every 3 years people get a new Superman or new Spider-Man or whatever, new Batman. So every couple years you have those younger people that are like, well, this is my version, and they start taking ownership of these things. And that's the biggest thing I see. Like the other day, the Lois and Clark came out. I posted nothing about Zack Snyder. I just posted that I liked the pilot and that my review will be coming soon. And someone was like, "Are you kidding me? Oh my god, they don't know what they're doing on that show. That show is bad." And I'm like, they're like, Snyder did it better. And I'm like, I'm not comparing the two. All I said was I like this and my review was coming soon. And then I think I posted a picture today where this guy, like I posted comic book images. Dan Jurgens did the Lois and Clark comic book. And I really like that comic. And that's a comic where they're a couple and they have a son named Jonathan Kent, who's in the show. And then, of course, I posted like, oh, man, Dan Jurgens, I really love your run. I'm rereading it today because I loved Superman and Lois so much. Another person comes into my mentions and they're like, those comics have nothing to do with that show. You don't even know what you're talking about or whatever. And you're just like, oh, God damn. People. Fans are the worst thing about the stuff we love. And I mean that with my whole heart. Fans are the worst thing about the stuff I love. They ruin it all. Of course, there's different degrees of fans, but you know which fans I'm talking about. They're the hardcore, I own everything. My version's better than your version. And they can't accept anything else. The fans you were mentioning earlier, like those type of people ruin everything that you and I are just trying to casually love and take some form of escapism from.
Yeah, I can't take any of it seriously anymore. And at this point, like whatever people throw at me, I'll probably watch it at some point. I might not watch it right when it comes out, but
Yeah.
like I like watching all the DC animated movies. I think I've seen probably at least 80 to 90% of them.
Mhm.
And are they all good? No. Are some of them good? Yeah. Are they kind of goofy in general? Yeah, but I mean they're just melodramatic and fun. Here I've always held the belief that comic books are just soap operas geared towards men.
Yeah.
Like in their initial marketing. Obviously now we've seen comic books flourish into a more inclusive medium, but at the end of the day, superhero books, Marvel and DC, are kind of soap operas. And the movies sort of, I think, reflect that to a certain regard. They're these good triumphs over evil, want to see the hero win, kind of try to make you laugh along the way. It's why people would probably go to like Shakespearean plays back
Right.
when they were coming. They wanted to hear a story, they wanted to feel good, they wanted to maybe see a moral, and they wanted to walk away feeling like they themselves had gone through some sort of journey.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're right. I mean, wrestling's kind of been known as they call it the male soap opera.
Yeah,
But I
that's
mean,
another good example of it.
comic books, they were originally targeted to sell ads to young kids, to boys, basically. So they would put ads in there for other things. And then you
Yeah.
would get a superhero story along the way. But over time, they started meaning stuff to the adults that were writing them. And I think they took on a different life. I know there's that thought that, oh, comics were only just for men before, but I never saw them that way. But that could be true still. I just never saw them that way. Because when I look back at all my favorite comics growing up, and I reread them now to like refamiliarize myself with them, I find a lot of them to be fairly progressive in a lot of their stances, and even some by writers who aren't progressive writers. Like they're not progressive people. I mean, like like Chuck Dixon, we were talking about him the other day, Gene and I. He wrote like Nightwing for a long time. He was really good about. He's like a Republican guy. Like he's got his values, like and his political beliefs. I couldn't tell that reading his Nightwing book. But that's the thing is none of that should come across in your writing, like as a writer. Like if you're telling a story specifically to something, that's one thing. But in general, who you are and your belief system, that shouldn't bleed into the character too much.
Yeah, especially if you're writing a property like a superhero, it's not an original thing.
Right. If you're doing your own indie comic, do whatever you want, but you don't own Nightwing, you don't own Batman or Spider-Man or any of those guys. So to try to shove your thumb onto them is kind of like, don't do that. Like, like Donny Cates, I know I rip on him a lot, but the one thing I like he's doing with Venom is that he's building Venom to be a father with Dylan, his son, and he's building that relationship. And you can tell there's a little bit of Donnie and his relationship maybe with his dad in that, but that's okay because that's not changing the characters at all.
It's sort of just trying to show them in maybe more human lights or create more human aspects to them.
True. Yeah. So we just saw, it happened a minute ago, but Rose and Jericho actually turned the screws on Jackal, and she remembered that Jackal was the one who cut his throat, so she wants revenge on Jackal, it seems. Is that what am I interpreting that right?
Yeah, she's now on the Deathstroke side, and Jericho's with them, and
okay,
now they're all fighting together in some regard.
Okay.
Do you think Black Adam will be in Earth 1 or 2 in DC? What is that? Yeah. Are there like 2 different universes in the cinematic world now?
There's multiple. Every world. Yeah.
I know, but like, which ones are in Earth 1 and which ones are in Earth 2?
Oh, I don't know if Daniel means that literally. I think he's asking like in general, like, do you think it'll be in the, I guess, Snyder verse? Is it, maybe that's what I'm understanding? Maybe he means Snyderverse is one Earth and then Shazam is another Earth?
Isn't Shazam in the Snyderverse?
I assumed it was because Superman shows up in it at the end.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. There's a Superman cameo and there's a lot of Superman references.
Oh, well, maybe he means the Batman is another Earth because that's clearly a different Earth. I don't know, to be honest with you. If I were to guess, I would imagine that Black Adam and Shazam occupy the same space because that just makes the most sense.
Yeah, I would say so.
Shazam and Black Adam are both going to be filming at the same time in Atlanta during April.
They'll probably have some crossover characters, so that would make sense.
That's what I was thinking. Because Shazam wraps their filming near the end of April, and Shazam ends its filming near the end of April. Black Adam starts, I think, mid-April. So that would make sense that Black Adam's coming in to shoot the crossover scene for both movies.
Yeah.
In the last week of production on one movie and the first week of production on the other, just to get it out of the way, and then go into then one movie goes.
Yeah, and then just launch into it.
Yeah, exactly.
Having kind of already had the flow. They're probably even using the same crew. So the crew will be there anyway. They'll already be in the groove and ready to keep going.
Right.
Geez, getting thrown off a plane like that.
After being shot in the shoulder, too.
Yeah, that's going to be a terrifying fall to your demise.
This is kind of a neat thing where they're basically they're really just trying to save their kids, but inadvertently they're saving Air Force One as well.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, damn it, we got to save the president.
Yeah. All right, Wintergreen.
Now, yeah, like that's a little contrived and hokey, but it's funny.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. I can accept it.
Yeah.
So we got Shiva here. Come on, don't you have superpowers? What are you doing just hanging out there?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, just make Shiva like cut herself in half.
Maybe there's like an inhibitor.
Yeah, maybe. Oh yeah, he thinks Batman, Patterson, and Joker. And okay, well, I don't know if Batman, and Joker occupy the same Earth. I doubt that.
That would be weird. That would be a weird precedent to set.
Yeah, it would be. I'm surprised though with Joker's success that they didn't, because I know that for a while they were talking about doing other solo villain movies, but they didn't pull the trigger on any of them except Black Adam. But that's been in development for like 7 years or something.
That makes sense because The Rock is so popular, and just having him attached to the project pulls a lot of weight to it. Where they're
Sure.
like, "Oh, we can make a Rock project? Sure, throw it. Let's throw that out there."
Hell yeah, man! Who doesn't want to make a movie with that guy? He's awesome.
Yeah, he's a very popular. He's a draw, I think.
He is.
He's really like he's really a movie star.
Yes. Yeah. He is. He's a star in general. That guy was he went from like wrestling into like making $1 billion blockbusters. Shit, he's so funny in Jumanji.
Oh yeah, he's so great in that movie.
I like him in the second one where he's basically Danny DeVito is in his body, so he sounds like he's like doing like a Jersey
like an
accent.
Old Jersey man voice. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, kind of sounds Seinfeldy.
Yeah, he's like, what's up with my arms? Yeah, I love that. I like those movies. They're funny. They're actually pretty good.
I like them a lot as well. Those Jumanji ones. Oh, she cut the bullet in half. That's how good she is.
Yeah. Well, this time he can't just surrender. So I'm curious to see how he's. Oh, wow. Typical Deathstroke, right? Blow his load early.
Yeah, he needs to get it out.
He's like, I'm just gonna run for the kill shot. It's like, you think it was gonna be that easy, dude? If I were you, I would help your lady back there kill Shiva, because
geez, Deathstroke, there's still 10 minutes left in the movie. Like, you're not gonna get the kill stroke yet.
I feel that's a little lazy. What'd they do to the kid? Like, he's just like incapacitated. They drug him?
Sort of like, drugged him or some inhibitor or something. I can't exactly remember.
Ooh.
Stab.
Well, that's how you beat her. You get her in close. Oh. Oh. Oh, whoa, that was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Good, because I thought Rose was literally going to sit there and do jack shit. I'm glad that she did something. Oh. Uh-oh. Shiva's still alive, I think.
Yeah, she was like coughing up the blood.
Yeah, she wasn't dead. Oh, that was well edited. That was really quick and well done. Oh.
Yeah, see, spoiler. Didn't want to tell you.
Okay. I completely forgot about that, actually.
Yeah, but also, like, screw you, Jackal. Don't have your daughter fight Deathstroke.
He had faith that his daughter would win, I guess, but he should be mad at himself.
That's not Deathstroke's fault that, like, you put your daughter between him and his son. Like, you kidnapped his son first, and then you were like, oh, if you want to get to your son, you have to kill my daughter. And he's like, I don't care. I want my son. Okay. Sure.
I will. Yeah.
And now Jackal's like, I'm taking revenge for you killing my daughter. And he's like, but you took my son. That's why I had to kill your daughter.
But it's, okay, he's going to take his whole family. But it's like, Deathstroke doesn't care about his family. So like, what are you accomplishing? I mean, I guess he does now, but he didn't at the beginning. So like, what was the goal there? Like, I kidnapped your son. He's like, my what?
I got like 19.
I mean, I guess he kind of loved his son. He read him a bedtime story, I guess.
He had the same bedtime story.
Yeah.
Kept it like he was like, I'll read it to you from my phone.
Which that had no impact on the story whatsoever, did it?
Yeah, it's just called Knights and Dragons, and it doesn't really relate much to that.
Right. They could have just called this Deathstroke.
Yeah.
Like
Deathstroke, no longer a creep.
Hashtag not my Deathstroke.
Hashtag not my Deathstroke. Oh God.
Deathstroke not a groomer. What a weird time for a VO. This is interesting. I mean, I'm not trying to pick it apart, to an extent, but I do have some criticisms.
Oh yeah, I mean it's not amazing, but it's fun.
Yeah, no, but it is fun. But I kind of wish they embraced the schlocky over the topness a little bit more. Like I feel like the action scenes are really good, but they're not juggling the tone very well. Like I said, like Smoking Aces, just when I think of that movie, I think of like a Red Hood movie or a Deathstroke movie, because that movie is just like they have a good amount of setup and then it just goes fucking bonkers.
Yeah, and that's exactly kind of it's like Taken almost, where it's like there's no action, and then it's just action.
Right.
Or Dread. Dread is another good example.
Dread's pretty good, but I would say, have you ever seen the movie The Big Hit?
I don't know. I think I have.
It's got Mark Wahlberg in it.
Yeah, okay.
You seen that one?
I believe so, yeah.
So that movie to me is way better than I thought it could ever be. It is essentially this. It's about assassins who go on a job and then one of them has a change of heart and decides not to kill their target. So he, protects her.
Saves her.
And then the agency that hired them is like, okay, well, if he went rogue, now the teammates have to go after the guy who betrayed everybody. But it's like very schlocky and very comedic. And it doesn't ever take itself seriously. And I kind of really like the tone of that movie.
Oh, now he's looking at his old childhood things.
So he's psychic because he doesn't have a voice, right? Because his throat got cut.
His throat got cut, and then he realized he was psychic, I think.
Or maybe his powers manifested from the wound. Like it's like, okay, you can't talk, so the power compensated for the thing he lost.
I guess.
How convenient.
Yeah, I mean, you get kind of a cool superpower out of it.
Yeah, sure. Interesting. Whoa, boundaries. What'd you touch my head for? You see her look too? She was like, the hell
We are family.
Are you petting me right now?
I have constructed a basement for you.
You can sleep in the cage I have in the basement next to my dominatrix center of my costume.
Sound like a creepy mannequin.
So this is now we're back at the beginning of the movie.
Yep, where he's reading the story.
And what? He can see him or sense him that his dad's out there reading?
I guess so. That's why he smiled at the moon.
It's like, my dad's out there bleeding to death. I know it.
My dad's out there on a beach bleeding.
Surprised sharks didn't get him.
But
Sweet. Sam Register, shout out. all these guys. Greg Berlanti. Wow, Greg Berlanti did executive produce this. Oh, that's right, because it was on CWC. That makes sense. Sung
Song
Jin
Jing Han.
and J.M. DeMatteis.
I need a pee so bad.
Do you?
I do.
Huh. This was okay. It was okay.
It was fun enough.
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, I have questions, and like I said, I probably could have missed a few things, but you brought up an interesting question earlier, or someone did, as how do you make a Deathstroke movie? That's certainly one way to do one. It's funny that Lady Shiva and Bronze Tiger got play in this, but then they were also in that latest Batman movie too. Like, there's some definite fans of them over at the DC.
Yeah, and they got like a heroes villains treatment sort of thing.
Right? Yeah. Faux show.
I'm looking through the movies trying to pick something for next week.
Oh yeah, it's your choice.
My pick. What would be a fun one?
And I'll go ahead and look and pick mine for 2 weeks later. And then after that, we'll get into the MSPH stuff.
Yeah, that sounds
so. Good. Yeah, you'll do next week's. I'll do the week after, and then the week after that, we'll try to get Shuddy in here and do New Frontier.
Man, I think.
I was going to ask you real quick before you pick.
Okay, go ahead.
Jeff Clark wasn't sure which one he wanted to watch. Should we have one of the guys pick his, like Shuddy or Kevin, or do you think we should just pick one now, like an entry level one for him?
Yeah, I was considering. I think we should talk about it and see which one might be fun. I was thinking maybe like a Batman Year One, or Red Sun or something like that.
Oh, like Russian Superman?
Yeah, something that's kind of out of the ordinary that I think he might jive with.
Something standalone-ish?
Yeah, something standalone-ish.
Okay. Yeah, something that's not heavily deep in continuity. I like that idea. Okay. Well, that'll be our narrow down now, and then we'll talk more about it next week.
Gotham Knights might be a good one for him.
That ties into the Christopher Nolan movies.
Oh, and he's seen all those.
Yeah, but they're all like short stories. It's like the Animatrix. It's like a bunch of short stories.
You know what? I think I'm going to go All-Star Superman.
Oh, really? So we're watching All-Star Superman next week?
Yeah, I thought that would be a fun one, a nice standalone one.
Okay.
I assume it's one I assume you've seen it, so.
Oh, hell yeah. And that's based on a Grant Morrison comic, which is awesome.
I don't know the individual issues to that one.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
Hot damn. Sweet. Well, I guess I have a pick too.
What are you going with?
You've seen Flashpoint, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen Suicide Squad Hell to Pay?
Yeah.
Okay. So then I'm going to go with Green Lantern First Flight.
All right. We're going Green Lantern First Flight.
Yes.
I've seen that too, but.
No, I know you have, but I was like, there are some things that I think will be a lot of fun to talk about in Flashpoint and in the other one, since it's kind of a sequel to it, but we can save those for another time. I'm in the mood for Green Lantern stuff. As you can see, I've been redecorating my room and everything. So I got the Ryan Reynolds poster behind me now and stuff. And then over here, I have like the statues, the lantern, the video game for the Xbox, like all the rings. So yeah, I'm in a Green Lantern mood. So I say next week, yeah, I like your pick, All-Star Superman. The week after, we'll do Green Lantern First Flight.
Awesome. I'm excited, man. I think All-Star Superman and Green Lantern will both be nice kind of mix-ups.
Yeah, that's a nice change of pace. And I honestly, this was a nice change of pace, doing Deathstroke. That was really fun.
Yeah, I had a good time.
Nice. Awesome. So any last words before we go? Because I know you got to pee and I am starving. I'm so hungry.
I know you got to eat. I got to pee. I'm pretty good. I got nothing else to say.
Okay. Real quick, we got one last comment here from Daniel. I was lucky enough to have a 70 millimeter IMAX near, but Tenet was closed to ruining my ears. Oh, okay. So not DC related, but okay. Yeah, Tenet. I haven't seen. I still haven't watched that movie, so I
Yeah,
know
I
it's an
heard the
old.
sound mixing was weird in it.
Most of his movies have weird sound mixing in them, in my opinion. But then again, they're even weirder to me because I only hear out of one ear. So
One ear.
I'm sure they're meant for some kind of experience, but I don't get that experience.
Yeah, I don't know. I would assume you should try to make your sound mixing for as accessible to as many people as possible.
I thought you were going to tell me. I think you should work on hearing out of both ears.
Like, geez, Seek, how
Seek, have
dare
you
you?
ever tried hearing out of your left ear?
Like, they have hearing aids, Seek. Why don't you get one of those? God, why don't you just put a cone up to it?
Oh man, now it's getting real. We've had those. Well, not me and you, but like me and family and doctors have had that conversation. Um, I don't know. A hearing aid won't help, but it might help this year a little bit. But getting the surgery with everything that possibly could, but I don't want anything else going into my brain.
Oh yeah, like a cochlear implant. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to deal with it. I'm trying to learn sign language though, so there's that.
Oh, I know a little sign language.
What to do?
Nice to meet you. My name is Alex.
Oh, wow, you're really good.
I learned a little bit in, man, I don't know what I think this is college or university.
Okay. This?
Yeah, college.
You make it like a C?
Yeah, C, and then you like shake it.
Okay. You said learning. What's learning?
I think learning.
Oh, this.
Put it on your hand and pull it to your head. Sorry, my hand was a little low.
Oh yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Learning.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, I watch. My friend Paige sent me a link to a guy on YouTube, so I watch his stuff sometimes. But unfortunately, sign language is like a very visual thing you have to learn, and that is my problem. Is remembering things visually like that is like very frustrating. So it's been a bit. Let me tell you, I'd probably learn Japanese faster. But
yeah.
Well, go ahead. I need a what?
Maybe it's a muscle memory thing that you could think
I feel
about
like in time it will. That's the thing is a lot of people, like when I worked at Lego a couple months ago, everything I did was muscle memory. I didn't actually remember how to do any of it, but my hands started.
But your body knew.
Yeah, so I have to do things enough to commit it to that memory when it's physical, so that I can just do it. Like picking things up off a table, you just know. Like grabbing a drink, you just know.
You don't consciously think about opening your water bottle, taking a sip, putting it like that. Those aren't all individual steps you're addressing in your head.
Yeah, your brain isn't going step 1, step 2, step 3. Your body just does. So it's like trying to explain that to people. I'm like, yeah, that's how I have to learn physical things is through that. So it's it's a process, but we'll get there. I'm not going to give up. But thanks for showing me a little bit, and thanks for hanging out with me, and honestly, thanks for cheering me up, dude. I really appreciate it.
I'm glad I could help a little bit.
You always do, man. Get some rest. Next week we'll watch All-Star Superman, and the week after we'll watch Green Lantern, and then we'll have some friends join us for this fun show. We'll do the MSPH guys first, and then hopefully by then we'll hear good news from Gene, and maybe we'll get Gene on for an episode.
Yeah, by that time Snyder Cut will be coming out too.
Snyder Cut will be out by the time the MSPH guys come on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we might have to push them a week if you want to do the Snyder Cut thing on opening day, because it actually releases on a Thursday.
Oh, damn. Oh, that actually, oh man, that's hard not to do then.
I know it. I'm like,
when it's like
a tough.
When DC themselves are being like, guys, we really want you to talk about it. We're releasing it on your show day.
Well, to be fair, they announced that release day before we came up with Thursdays for our show.
Well, I mean, I think they were hoping.
They knew I had Thursdays off, so
they were like, I think Zeke and Alex might do their show on Thursday. We should plan Snyder Cut to release on Thursday because we really need their attention. We need them covering it.
That's true. Well, IPV, Daniel, everyone who popped in earlier, Shadow Killer, thank you all for coming in. We appreciate you keeping us company and hanging out with us. And anyone watching later, let us know what you thought of this episode, this movie in general, if you made it this far. I appreciate you guys listening to these as podcasts. I hope you are enjoying them. And we'll come back next week with another one.
All right.
Oh, yeah, I got to hit the end button. And now we wait for